You ever stay up past 3 a.m. and feel like the air shifts? Like the world just pulls back a little? I used to think that was just exhaustion, like your brain misfiring from too much caffeine and not enough REM. But it's not that. It's real. It's a crack in the clock, a forgotten hour. And I found it by accident. I hadn't slept in 3 days. Finals, bad breakup, sick mom. I was spiraling. The kind of spiral that makes you float above yourself, you know? It started during finals week of my junior year. I was living off campus in this creaky old house near a cemetery. Yeah, real original setup. My roommate was gone for the week and I'd pulled an all-nighter prepping for a biochem exam. At some point, around 2:50 a.m., my phone just died. Battery at 40%, and it shut off, like I dropped it in water. I went to turn on a lamp and the bulb buzzed, then flicked out. The microwave clock reset. My laptop blinked once, then went black. And the silence? It wasn't normal silence. It was pressurized, like standing too deep underwater. No hum of the fridge, no wind, no traffic, just this. Wait. I thought it was a blackout until I looked outside. The street lights were still on, but the shadows were wrong. They stretched upward, like vines, or hands. They weren't cast by anything I could see. No trees, no cars, not even me. They moved like they had somewhere to be, bending toward the house instead of away from it. I remember one in particular. It was thin, impossibly long, like someone had drawn a line with ink and let it stretch across the pavement. It twitched when I looked at it. Just once, like it knew. I stared at it too long, thinking maybe my eyes were playing tricks. But it was pulsing, very slowly, like it was breathing. That's when I noticed something else. No bugs, no moths circling the street lights, no sound of crickets, not even the faint buzz of a transformer. Just absolute stillness, like the world was holding its breath. And somehow, in that silence, I started to hear my own thoughts echoing back, slightly out of sync, not like memory, more like someone else was rehearsing them. I remember checking my watch. It was stuck on 3:01 a.m. I sat there for what felt like an hour. 2, and that's when I first heard the breathing. It wasn't human. Too deep, too wet, like lungs filled with water dragging air through slits. It came from behind the walls, beneath the floorboards, inside the vents. I tried to scream, but the sound just sort of hung in the air like a thread that never dropped. Dead, stillborn. I locked myself in the bathroom, sat on the cold tile. I could hear footsteps on the ceiling even though I lived on the top floor. They circled slowly and then stopped directly above me. For the rest of the hour, I listened to dripping sounds that weren't water. Then, at 4:00 a.m., everything came rushing back. Lights on, phone buzzed, microwave beeped, reality rebooted. But when the lights came back, the clocks ticked forward to 4:00 a.m. like nothing had happened. Except my favorite watch. It didn't restart like the rest. It was a gift from my mom the day I left for college. It had never stopped ticking until then. I should have let it go. Should have pretended it didn't happen. but on the second night, I tested it. I stayed awake again. Same thing. Lights, time, silence. But this time I brought a flashlight. It worked. Briefly, until the beam froze midair, like it was shining through molasses. The cone of light stopped moving. I reached into it, and my hand went numb. I swear, when I pulled it back, my fingernails were slightly longer. My palm had tiny hairline wrinkles that hadn't been there before. At first, I thought I was imagining it. But I held my hands together, and one was older. Not metaphorically. I mean, the skin had that paper-dry texture, the creases of age mapped across it like a topographic line. I tried to laugh, told myself it was just dehydration or a trick of the light. But the next morning, my left thumbnail split down the middle, brittle like it hadn't had nutrients in weeks. My knuckle ached when I moved it, like it had been arthritic for years. It was like time had missed me, then found a way to catch up, but only in pieces. That hour between 3 and 4 a.m. isn't part of our world. It's like a sandbox where the rules of existence are sketches, suggestions. I started seeing things in the corner of my eye, but then I noticed how they moved against the light, not with it. Sometimes, if I stared at one long enough, it would notice. That was my first real mistake. It turned its head toward me. Not a full head, just a twist, like a ribbon in the dark. No eyes. But I felt it looking. I tried to leave the house, but the door wouldn't open. Not locked, just stuck, like the wood was fused together. The windows wouldn't break. I screamed, but the sound just hung in the air, thick and motionless. Then I started noticing rules. Don't speak first. They'll know you're aware. Don't try to count the minutes. Time doesn't like to be seen, and whatever you do, don't look into mirrors. I broke that one on the 5th night. My reflection blinked when I didn't. It hasn't matched me since. On the 5th night, I stayed perfectly still. Didn't move. Didn't breathe too loudly. Just waited for the hour to pass. That was when I saw them. 4 of them, standing in a semicircle around my bed. Thin, elongated. Like people who had been almost forgotten by time. Their mouths opened too wide, and they whispered in tones I felt in my teeth. You see us now. That's all they said. Over and over. You see us now. You see us now. You. 4 a.m. came like a slap. Lights on. Clock ticking. I was alone again. But something was different. The house felt wrong in daylight, like it was still remembering the hour before. My coffee tasted metallic, like it had soaked in old batteries. The mirror fogged even though the room was cold. No steam, no breath, just that heavy condensation, like someone had been standing in front of it, watching. And every time I checked the time, it was 3:00 something. Always 3:02 p.m., 3:17 a.m., 3:39. On campus, I started to notice things. Repeats. A guy in a yellow hoodie walking past me 3 times in 5 minutes, always holding the same iced coffee. A group of girls laughing, but the laugh was looping. Same cadence, like it was dubbed over the moment. like someone had copied and pasted a sound. And then there was the flicker, one of them, standing still behind the vending machines. Too tall, no face. The space around it just buzzed, like it was struggling to hold its shape in daylight. I blinked, and it was gone. But the vending machine still had condensation on the inside, like it had been breathing. Since then, they've started bleeding into the daytime. Reflections that don't match, shadows that stretch across the room when there's no light source. My classmates say I look pale, sunken, tired. One professor told me I had grave eyes. I dropped out a week later. I started trying to avoid 3 a.m. altogether, but it didn't stop. One afternoon, I answered a call from my mom, but the voice on the other end asked, "Is this the real you?" I laughed it off until I checked my call history. No outgoing calls, no incoming, just one saved voicemail titled "From you, 30 seconds of static, then stay with us, you're cleaner than most." I tried moving. Different state, different climate. I even stayed in a town with no street lights. But every night, at 3 o'clock a.m., the world freezes and I feel the air go still. And they come. Last night, one of them stood right next to my bed. Didn't move, didn't speak, just watched me. And in its hand, it held my old watch, the one that broke the first night. It was ticking again, but it was going backward. If I sleep tonight, I don't think I'll wake up. And if I don't sleep, I don't know if I'll stay human. Whatever lives in that 26th hour, it's starting to live in me too. I used to be afraid of it, of them, of the rules breaking, the faces and reflections, the static voices whispering in reverse. But lately, I think I understand it, or maybe I'm just becoming easier to understand. I think I'm bleeding into it now, or it's bleeding into me. Street lights flicker when I pass under them. Strangers flinch like they recognize me. Last week, I caught my reflection watching me before I looked in the mirror. I'm starting to think 3 a.m. isn't the beginning of the hour, it's just when I become visible to it. I don't eat much anymore, can't keep anything down unless it's cold, raw. The light hurts, my reflection blinks before I do. And when I close my eyes, I don't see black. I hear that slow, wet dripping and see the hallway of my old house over and over with the clock frozen at 3:01. I feel them pressing at the edges, like teeth behind a smile. And here's the thing no one told me. It doesn't feel like dying. It feels like remembering something I was never supposed to forget.